And I think probably the single biggest milestone after that was when I met my wife, Linda. I was kind of at a crossroads of where to go. I'd gone to work for NWDHA, stayed there for a few years, moved to Federal Way, Washington. I was sitting up there doing NWDHA stuff, but I had this burning desire, and you and I had talked about this in the early 70s, and this was 1988, 89, and I had this burning desire to establish a diving operation in the San Juan Islands. I really, honest to God, felt that a well-run operation would work. And I talked to some people about it. Talked to John Englander, who was the owner, general manager of UNEXO in Freeport, Grand Bahama. Talked to other people that had been in the diving destination business. Got an idea of what worked in other parts of the world, and moved up to Friday Harbor. I told Linda, and we weren't married then, I said, well, I have a choice. I can take a position as a rep for NWDHA in Australia, which I kind of wanted to go to Australia, or they're really looking for somebody to take over Hawaii. I could do that, or I could do this little fantasy thing that I've been thinking about for decades up in the San Juan Islands. And she said, I like the San Juan Islands, and I don't want to be that far away from the kids and grandkids. I said, okay, we'll go to the San Juan Islands. So she sold her house, I sold my house. We moved to Friday Harbor, started Emerald Seas International, Emerald Seas Diving and Marine Center, and built an extremely successful business up there. We loved it. It wore us out, and we worked our tails off for 10 years, and our goal was to make enough money by the end of October, that we could pay the bills till March, and then it would start again. And we actually achieved that a few of the 10 years, not all of them, but a few of them. And we had a great operation going, and we still have, even now, that's been 15 years ago we sold that business, and we still have people contact us on the internet, and it shows. We've got people that are here at this show where you and I are interviewing right now, who had come up there and taken an instructor course from me in Friday Harbor, and we still have fond memories of that. That was a real milestone in that. And then, of course, the big event that I'm working on right now is the Northwest Diving History Association, which is what we're interviewing here and sharing information with people. You know, it was said not long ago that the people and the stories are the most perishable resource. So our mission is to record those stories, get the old photographs. There's all kinds of old equipment around, but the stories, like we're talking about here, and this is why we're doing this kind of an interview. And so this is my next mission in life and milestone in life is doing this. So.
And you're doing an extremely great job, Tom. You really are. And all the time while I've known you, I've always admired your ability to take a project and run with it and really develop it and do a good job. And I don't know a more sincere person that I've ever been in contact with. And it's amazing. I'm just so very proud to, have been any part that I could have played in what you've done for the diving for years now.
Yeah, and likewise you as well. I mean, the diving industry, in my opinion, has improved and been more successful as a result of people like you and others.
Well, and we've I think both you and I have the same feeling that we've taken some very special feelings and very special accomplishments that have fulfilled our lives from diving. Yeah, it's been amazing. Okay, how about people you've mentored, Tom?
You know, I was kind of looking forward to that question, because I think one of my most pleasing, I'm trying to think of the right word to use, it'll come to me sometime, feelings is growing people. I've always enjoyed helping people. That's teaching, taking people that know, they're even afraid of the water, and turning them into divers, and people that enjoy and feel confident in the water. But as far as mentorship, it goes a little bit beyond training. And I think about people like Dennis Lucia, who's one of our board members and founders of the association. I drug Dennis kicking and screaming into diving classes, groomed him to become an instructor, hired him as an instructor, mentored him and advised him as he got more involved in the diving industry over the years. When I did that first program in Houston at the Ocean Corporation in 1983, November 83, I called Dennis up and I said, get a plane ticket, come down here for a week, you're going to go through this program, and he did. Dennis then took that initial orientation to surface applied diving and worked that and expanded that, and now he's the director of the Marine Technology and Training Program for the Nisqually tribe, and they are training with surface applied diving. I think he's got about 9 different tribes in the Pacific Northwest area where they're training their native divers to harvest sea urchins, sea cucumbers, gooey ducks, and whatever else. So
he's done a great job too.
And Dennis is one of the real success stories as far as mentoring. I've trained a lot of instructors, trained a lot of divers as well, but a lot of instructors, and it's real pleasing to see an awful lot of the instructors that I motivated in the beginning. Leon Scammell is a good example. I hound dogged him, I guess you'd call it, for about 3 years until I got him into an instructor training course. And when he got out of the Army, he was in Army Rangers, Special Forces, and when he got out, started his rebreather program and has been extremely successful. And if you talk to him, he'll say that a lot of his original motivation, just getting the wheels turning and push, was some of the stuff that I did, and I'm proud of that. And there's others.
A lot of neat people.
Yeah.
So, any sea stories or
Oh,
adventure?
there's lots.
Oh, I know you have some. I've been
A sea
part of
story.
some.
A sea story. We talked about that with your interview, and a sea story is unique.
Yes, it is.
It's sometimes, and I can recall about, I'm going to say it was about 5 years ago, we had a potluck barbecue at my house, and you came down. Dennis Lucia was there. We had several divers around. We had people show up because they just wanted to hear the stories, and that was strictly ad lib. That was just ad lib, and those are the most fun stories. But you know, the one story I told it earlier today, and I tell it often, but it's about octopus. And I had a diving instructor, a female diving instructor, that had never seen an octopus before. we had a class up at Hood Canal, and I promised her I would show her an octopus. So we got the class all done on Sunday, and they're all milling around. Some are going home. They're all finished up, and some are still playing in the water with the assistants and that. So I grabbed her and I said, let's go down here. We swam about 100 yards down the beach to a cliff area that you couldn't walk to it, and went down about 60 or 70 feet, and there was a crack in the rock. And you could look down with a light, and you could look down and you could see octopus down in that crack. They were always there. Every time I went there, I'd been going there for decades, and they were always there. So I shined the light down there and saw an octopus. So I motioned her over, and she shined her light down. She could see the octopus, couldn't quite reach it. So I moved back and out of the way and moved up the rock a little bit. And I found another octopus that was about half out of the hole, the cave, the crack there. And so I could reach the eyes and the mantle, and I reached up and started petting him right between the eyes. And as I was petting him between the eyes, I reached in and I started pulling out one tentacle at a time, and I got him all the way out, kind of moved him over and set him on a rock. And all this time I'm petting him right between the eyes. My dive buddy came up, and I motioned to her, let's go get some crabs. So we went and found a crab, came back, fed the octopus a crab, and he was still sitting there on that rock, hadn't moved. And I swam up, and I had my face mask was like 2 inches away from his eyes. I'm sitting there just enough room for my hand. I'm petting him right between the eyes like that, and he's just closing his eyes and rolling his head and closing his eyes, and I'm thinking, this guy is really enjoying this, you know? And pretty soon he reached up with one tentacle and went across the top of my head and just petted me across the head. I get choked up when I tell the story. And I started crying. But this guy's talking to me, you know? So, and that's no bull, you know? That's that's my favorite octopus encounter.
Yeah,
that was fun. But there's a lot of sea stories.
Yeah, sometimes you see underwater, you're spending some time with the animals, and suddenly you have a kindred relationship with them. You really do.
Yeah. And that's fun.
There's intelligence in the creatures underwater.
They are. Well, I think animals, not just underwater, but animals on land, they pay attention to another sense beyond the five senses that we humans tend to focus on. There's other senses, and we can go into that discussion. That's a lengthy discussion.
Sure.
Need some Merlot for that one, but
yeah.
But animals pay attention to those senses. They sense harmlessness, and they sense danger.
Yes, they do.
And I've always told my students that when you go in the ocean, if you want to see a lot of animals down there, you don't have to say it out loud. You can if you want to, but you can just say it, look at the ocean, and just say, I'm asking your permission to come and visit. I mean no harm, and I just want to come down and visit for a while if you let me.
Well, wrapping up our interview, what should the people that are watching us, who weren't the very first people in diving for sure, but as time goes, and in our area, Pacific Northwest, we were there in the very earliest part of scuba diving days. What should the people know or take from some of the early diving that we did, and what it contributed?
Well, that's a pretty loaded question, but I love it because we think use the term the good old days, and they don't do it right today like we used to do it, and and you criticize. However, in this particular situation, coming from a position of being an instructor and still actively teaching, but not teaching entry level, teaching at the instructor level for almost 45 years, and you've been doing a lot longer than me. The problem that I see with the industry, and if somebody is watching this and they're thinking, gee whiz, I want to learn how to dive. Let's hope that non-divers watch this and get excited about it. I would tell them that when they take a scuba class, regardless of who they take the class from, they don't take it unless the instructor will guarantee that they get at least 10 to 12 hours of pool training with challenging skills. If they don't get that, they won't be comfortable in diving, period. It's one thing to learn to dive in 85-degree water with 100-foot visibility with a flat sandy beach and sandy bottom in Grand Cayman. But if you're learning how to dive and you're going to dive in the Pacific Northwest and you're going to dive with a full suit and kelp, currents, limited visibility, water temperature, with all the paraphernalia, you have got to be conditioned, mentally conditioned to be underwater, and you can't do it. And I just challenge the people in the industry and the people that want to learn to dive, make absolutely certain that you get 10 to 12 hours of pool training and practice and conditioning before you go to the open water. It's crucial. The people that are learning to dive with the short programs, the 2 and 3 and maybe even 4 hours of pool training, there's absolutely no way that you can be conditioned for the ocean in that shorter period of time. It can't be done. It just can't be done. But people are buying it and people are selling it. And I can almost guarantee you that in the industry, that the downfall of the industry and the decline of participation in the industry is a direct result of inadequate, incomplete pool training. You can do whatever you want with e-learning on the internet, and I agree with it 100%. You can cut back classroom time all you want to, as long as people learn the material and they can do it on the internet, they can do it with e-learning. But you cannot speed up the process of developing skills and confidence and comfort in the ocean in a short period of time. You can't speed it up. It doesn't work. It won't work, period. That's my soapbox.
I'm inclined to agree with you.
Yeah.
But, and I'd have one comment as far as instructors that are being developed today.
Yeah.
And I've always said this, whether it's in regards to diving or flying, which you know I'm heavily involved in. I always say, if you're going to be an instructor, okay, every time you read something in your discipline, every time you pick up a book about diving or about something that's related to diving in your discipline, you don't want to read it to learn. If you thought that you were going to have to convey what you just read to 50 or 100 people tomorrow in a formal setting, you'd read that a whole lot different than you would if you were just reading it for your own edification. Mm-hmm. So I always tell instructors, you read to teach, not to learn.
Perfect. I love it. See, there you are, mentoring me again, the philosopher, the wise guy. Wisdom. Yeah. No, we can keep going till midnight if you want.
Well, we need a bottle of wine.